Hello everyone, welcome to another vlog. So in today's vlog, I'm going to talk about sentence correction and one particular error type which gets students very tensed. And the error of course is the error of tense. So I won't teach you all the tenses, not in this vlog, but I'll address one particular mistake that I think students make when it comes to tenses. And that mistake I think is that students approach tenses in a very technical manner, which I think is a legacy of our school days. Because in school, what kind of questions did we used to get? We would be asked to first identify the verb or the verbs in a sentence and then identify which tense those verbs are in from the 12 possible tenses. Now that is complex and that is technical. On the GMAT, on the other hand, nobody will ask you to identify the verb or the tense. You only have to find the correct answer from 5 possible options. So don't get very technical. Even if you don't know which tense you are looking at, as long as you can understand the difference in meaning between two sentences that use different tenses, you will be fine. For example, if I say, I have been taking classes from Aristotle and I had been taking classes from Aristotle. Even if I don't know that the first sentence is in the present perfect continuous tense and the second sentence is in the past perfect continuous tense, even if I don't know that, it makes no difference as long as I know the difference in meaning. I have been taking classes means taking in the past, also taking right now. I had been taking classes means taking in the past and over, not taking right now. So as long as you know that difference in meaning, you will be able to get to the answer most of the time correctly. So all I'm saying is when you approach tense questions, don't approach them very technically. Apart from something like, the difference between past perfect tense and simple past tense or present perfect and simple past, you will easily be able to get to the answer just by understanding the meaning of the sentence. In fact, this is the big difference between an error type such as tense and another one such as subject-verb agreement. Because subject-verb agreement is a very technical error, there are a lot of rules you have to follow. Whereas tense is a very meaning-oriented error. You have to focus on the meaning of the sentence, especially focus on the part that is not underlined. That will be very, very important in getting to the answer. Because sometimes I could be stuck between two options. One is in the past tense, one is in the present tense. They both look correct. Then what do? I read the rest of the sentence that is not underlined and that will tell me which tense I need to go with. So now what I'll do is, I'll take you guys through a couple of questions from the OG that are testing you on tenses and let's see what we observe in these questions. So now let's take a look at a question which is from the OG. So what you guys can do is you can read the sentence. I'm sure a lot of you must have already attempted this question, but let's do it again anyway. So you can pause the video, you can try the question by yourself. Remember to do your splits, don't read all the options completely. So select an answer and then you can come back and play the video. So go ahead. Okay, so the sentence is pretty simple and I'm sure most of you can clearly see that there are two splits in this particular sentence. The first split is at the beginning, which is between that and the beginning, the universe. So whether we should go with that or whether we should not go with that, that's the first split. The more interesting split that I actually wanted you guys to take a look at is at the end. Has been expanding, had been expanding, has expanded, is expanding, and has been expanding. Because this is basically your tense. And I don't really care if you don't know which tense we're talking about or what those tenses are. Has been expanding means expanding in the past, also expanding right now. Had been expanding means not happening anymore. Has expanded means not happening anymore. Is expanding means expanding right now. Has been expanding means expanding in the past, also expanding right now. Most students manage to eliminate B and C because those two are clearly over and that's not the meaning that the sentence conveys. The most important word in the sentence, if you ask me, is this since, which is not underlined. Because since tells you it is still continuing, it's not over. So B and C are out. Now a lot of people get confused between is expanding and has been expanding because they both give you the continuous tense. Is expanding is present continuous, has been expanding is present perfect continuous. Again, we will not get technical. We will just focus on the meaning. Is expanding means expanding right now. Does not say anything about what's been happening in the past. Whereas our sentence says it's been expanding in the past and also expanding right now. Which is why you need to go with has been expanding, because that conveys the two different time periods. Something has been happening in the past, also happening right now. So just using the tenses, I have eliminated B, C, and D. Now, if you know your idioms, you know that holds will always be followed by that. A theory holds that or claims that, by which logic A is absolutely the correct answer. If you don't know that idiom, then if you look at E, holds the universe to have begun, I mean, it should ideally sound very, very awkward to you. A should sound much better. Holds that the universe began, simple past tense. And that should be the answer. But ideally, you should know this idiom because it's tested on the GMAT. Holds that. So if I knew the idiom, I would have anyway come down to A, B, and C, and then I would have eliminated B and C because of the incorrect tense and gone with A. So in this particular sentence, we got the answer using the tense, but we did not bother which tenses we were looking at. What is the technical name for those tenses? And that's a perfectly fine way of attempting tense questions. So don't think that if I don't know the tense, my knowledge is incomplete. That's rubbish. I'll show you one more question. Here it is. Slightly more difficult maybe. So again, you can pause the video, try the question, and come back and play the video. Okay. So in this question, if you try to do a split with the first word, it can get a little confusing. Word first aired or aired first or only aired, which is also simple past tense. Were aired is also simple past tense. So I think the best way in this question, or the best place to do your splits, is right here after the comma. Had moved, were moved, moving, moved, were moved. It's a clear split over here. I think the worst of the lot is moving. It doesn't make any sense who's moving, what is moving, we don't know. C is definitely out. Now let me go to A. They had moved. Now I do know that had is your past perfect tense, which is used to refer to earlier of the two past events. And that's a rule you must remember. The rule for the past perfect tense, we have mentioned this in the SC grade also, you must know this rule. So it's used to refer to the earlier of the two past events. In this particular sentence, the moving actually happened later. So it is the latter of the two events. You can't go with had over there. So A goes out. Now I'm down to B, D, and E. If I do my split, they were moved, and they moved. I'm not even going into tenses. I'm just thinking logically. What am I talking about? Soap operas. These are basically programs. So programs cannot move by themselves. They were moved by somebody. So they moved is absolutely incorrect because a program cannot move by itself. Think about it. So D also goes out. I'm down to B and E. Now I'll read both the sentences completely and I'm sure I'll be able to get the answer. B says, were first aired on evening radio in the 1920s. They were moved to the daytime hours in the 30s. Looks perfect to me. E says, were aired on evening radio first in the 1920s. Okay. They were moved to the 1930s in the daytime hours. Big distortion of meaning. They were not moved to the 1930s. They were moved to the daytime hours in the 1930s. So E completely distorts your meaning. B is your answer. So this was again a difficult tense question if you ask me, but we arrived at the answer without actually bothering too much with the technicality of the tenses. And that is how I want you guys to approach tense questions. In some cases, you will have to get technical, especially when it talks about the past perfect tense. But that's easy to spot in any case. But as much as possible, do not try to approach tense questions in a very mechanical or technical manner with a lot of heavy duty grammar, because you will unnecessarily get confused. So I hope what I said made sense to you guys. So the takeaway for you guys once again is, when you approach a tense question, don't approach it very technically or very mechanically. Try to focus on the meaning of the sentence. I hope you guys found this vlog informative and I shall see you tomorrow in a new vlog. Have a nice day.